Hi guys, this is going to be a pick a card reading for Why Are You Guys So Sexy? But before we get started, I would like to announce my friend's shop, Light Minded. She has a nice range of soaps, bath bombs, and candles. She uses simple ingredients, all 100% vegan and animal cruelty free, which I absolutely love. I have very sensitive skin, so certain soaps and certain bath bombs cannot do it for me. It actually causes irritation and rashes and redness. But with her soaps and her bath bombs, I have no issue with them. And I absolutely love it because the scent is not too strong, but at the same time, it's not weak. So I can still smell the soap on me from the next day after I took the shower. And I really love that because, again, it's not overpowering, but I still like that clean smell that it comes with. I love all of her scents pretty much, and everything that she has right now is very nature and very earthy scents. The theme that is going on right now is mountains. If you guys do not know, me and my friend, we live in the mountains, and so we wanted to do something to sponsor for our community, and I absolutely love these products, you guys. I'm the type of person that I would not get on this channel and tell you about someone's product if I did not use it myself or if I did not believe in it. Really good care of her products when she makes them. She does it with love, and I really love her soaps, and I really love her candles the most. Now, look at this. It's Summit Sunset is the candle that I got. I absolutely love the smell of it. Look how beautiful this is on the inside, you guys. She garnishes it with real dry herbs. And look how cute that is. They actually incorporated wax roses inside of her candle. And it is a wood wick candle, so I love that it makes the crackling sounds. I love wood wick candles, and I absolutely love that her candles are completely coconut and soy wax based. And I really love it because they burn evenly. I don't know if you guys noticed, this was from her old lineup, the last one she did, and I've been using this for about 4 or 5 months, you guys. And look at this, I'm halfway through the candle, and it's burnt evenly. And I love that because it doesn't have any tunneling, so I'm not throwing away half of the candle, and I really love that about this. And her products smell so good, and it's so natural. I really love her candles, you guys, so check them out. She doesn't have much of this line left, and next time that I post about this, it'll be a new line. So if you guys are actually interested in trying out this line, please do so. It's in the description box. Help support me and my friend and our community. I really appreciate that, you guys. Thank you so much. Now back on to the video. Hi guys. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Timestamps will be listed down below in the description box. If you guys need a second longer, go right ahead and pause the video. And before we continue, I'm gonna light this beautiful candle. Guys, I feel so bad ruining this candle. Look how beautiful it is. Oh, and by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but the little gold flakes you see, like the little gold powder, is mica powder that they used on top. How pretty is that, right? It's got like little gold garnishing. Anyway. Going to light it. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, guys, seriously, I love these candles. And this one smells so good. It has like a rosy, naturey smell to it. Like it's really hard to explain scents, but it has like this rose tone under it. It's really, really good. But I love these things. But look how beautiful. Ah, okay. Go ahead, pause if you need to pause the video. Go ahead and pick whatever card. Okay, for those of you that chose this paper rose, for this deck. This is going to be your guys' reading for Why Are You So Sexy, pile number 1. Right? Why are you so sexy? What about you is so alluring to people? All right, pile number 1. What makes you guys so sexy? And keep in mind, everyone's going to have a different definition of sexy, and everyone's going to have a different perspective of what is sexy. So, because some of the things that I'm going to say, you might say, like, wait, why is that sexy? But believe me, like, people are weird, right? There's so much diversity out there that people like all kinds of weird things. So, what makes you guys so sexy is we immediately start with the Empress card. And so what that kind of tells me is that you guys, what I'm getting is the way that you dress, you make things look good because of the way you wear it. So whether you add like a belt or some kind of accessory, there's something that you do that makes you stand out, that makes you a little more unique on the way that you dress and the type of jewelry that you might wear. And some people find that really sexy because it's like not very many people could ever pull off that look, but somehow you can. And so it makes you very sexy because you can pull off certain looks that a lot of people just couldn't do. Another thing that makes you guys really sexy is the way that it's like, okay, the way that you move, I think it kind of is very flowy. Even if you're a guy, like the way that you move, it's almost very natural. So it's like a really nice, flowy way that you either move your hips or the way you move your shoulders. It's kind of weird. It's like the way that you move. And when you walk in cadence to yourself, like once you start like in the strut, like this, it's like a, when you start walking, you strut, but you do it in such a way that it doesn't look like you're purposefully doing it. It just seems very natural and free-flowing. You guys might have a habit of touching your hair a lot, and people like that. They like your hair and the way that you touch your hair. So you're very like sensual in the way that you stroke your hair or play with it, or the way that you like mess with it. It's just people like that. They find that very sexy. Another thing that's kind of sexy about you is you seem like a type of person that has standards. So you don't just allow anybody into your life, and people find that kind of sexy because there's something about that exclusivity. I can't talk, guys. Exclusivity about you. That was a tongue twister. Because it feels like this person, like anytime somebody likes you, like there are people, like this is pretty weird. So like say for instance, there's a guy and he's staring at you in the store, and say a guy comes up and hits on you, you might like nicely turn him down, and the guy that watches you do that thinks that's kind of sexy because they think like, oh yeah, she knows her worth, like she could do better. So it's weird, but it is very sexy, right? When you have those standards, when you say, even when a guy does it too, it's like not every, even though a girl is cute, you might not just go for her looks, like you actually care about like the demeanor she has and the reputation and things like that. So people are drawn to you in that way because they think that you have a lot more of a higher standard, and it's almost like in a way that almost puts you on a pedestal to them because not very many people that they know or the people that they're around have those types of standards. So it's like you stand out because of that. And that is what makes you really sexy to a lot of people because they feel like they can't come to you in a way that's shady, and they like that about you. Another thing that some people find very sexy is that you can easily detach from people and situations, and you can withdraw emotionally when you need to. And so people find that very sexy because there's something about the way that you don't allow other people's energies to impact you. Like if you are around somebody and you don't like how they make you feel, like if you're at a party, right, and somebody around in that room is making you feel uncomfortable, you will leave that room in order to distance yourself so that you can kind of set that boundary there or that barrier there, because you didn't want to just indulge or just be around that individual. And so people find that sexy because they think that you're not necessarily confrontational, because for you, you'll just remove yourself from the situation. If you don't like it, you'll just remove yourself. You don't really start any of the drama. And I think that a lot of people, they find that sexy because you're kind of like this low-key person, pile number one, that I think you're a little secretive, or you're just not like forthcoming with information. So people question themselves like, how much money does pile number one have? I want to know what their income is. I wonder what like pile number one's thinking and feeling right now. Like, people just don't know much about you, and a lot of people are curious because you may look rich or you may look expensive, or at least you come off kind of bougie, right? Kind of like in that energy of like, you like the nicer things of life. And some people, they are like questioning how much money you make because you just come off very abundant, and that's really sexy to like all sexes, that's just like all out sexy. And another thing that a lot of people like about you is that you're very like sentimental about things. You maybe like when somebody gives you a gift or when somebody gives you something, you're like the type of person that wants to hold on to it. Like you're just really like, people think about you a lot too from your past, and that's another thing that kind of makes you sexy, because you may have a lot of exes that are still pining after you, pile number one. Even if a lot of them are not like talking to you, they could be like stalking your social media. Like you just have a trail of people, I think, that liked you, and you just keep it moving. Like there's something about you guys that just, you are your own person and you don't care what other people have to say about your life, because you're almost to this point, pile number one, where I think if you aren't like this, you are definitely transitioning into this. And it's funny because you got the rebel card. And you guys do just give off that rebel energy. Like, I'm going to go out and do this. I'm going to go have fun. And I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Like, you do what makes you happy. And it's like you follow your own pleasures and you follow your own passions. And you guys just seem to be this artistic, colorful person. And another thing is you just take action. You do physical things. Like, you'll go out and have fun. Or maybe you dance. You do something that is really outside the box, that's kind of unique, but you just like, you enjoy it and you don't do it for anybody else but yourself. And that makes you really sexy, because you have hobbies or you have things that you enjoy and you take time out of your busy schedule or out of your day to do them. And that just makes people like, they love that about you. You guys might like take a lot of risks, or you just try to get yourself out of your comfort zone, and maybe you do it more than the average person, right? Because I think you're just really this kind of adventurous person. There's something about you guys that it's almost like you guys would be like the entrepreneur pile, right? Or something where it's like, maybe you don't have, a lot of people don't have faith in you, or maybe you don't know if you're going to be able to do something, but you go for it anyways, and you try to make a business, or you try to make certain arts, or you try to do certain things. And it's like very inspiring to people. And a lot of people just really find that kind of like sexy. Like a lot of people, when they think about you, they think about this side of you, like you're really sweet and kind, but then there's a side of you that's like, dude, don't mess with me, don't test me. And that is really hot to a lot of people, because they're just like, wow. And you just come off like somebody that if they could peg you down and take you off the market, like not have anyone date you, right? You just get married. some people would do that because they can see having a house or a home with you, because you just seem like this colorful person. And have you ever met people where they only talk about certain topics and their life is kind of boring and it just seems like they do the same things over and over again? Those types of people. You're not those type of people. Like, you seem to have everything like changing every week. Something new is happening. Like, you guys just seem like you're full of life, that you try to go out and do things, or that you try to do things that just make you happy, right? That bring you pleasure, that bring you passion, that it's like you have this uncanny like faith too, that you can just like let go and go with the flow. And it's like you have this type of faith about you that people find sexy, because they don't have that in themselves. They don't know how to just go with the flow. And so some people may even find you like chaotic in a way, because you're just so like it's almost like if you have a gut feeling, or if there's something that like sparks passion in you, you're gonna go after that. You're gonna go follow that. And so you're led more by your heart and your gut. And a lot of people that are like very logical, they like low-key find it sexy, but at the same time, a part of them is like, that's too chaotic, or there doesn't seem to be a logic with this person. And it's not that you're not logical, it's just that you're trusting your gut, you're trusting your heart, you're going after things that sings to you, things that pop out for you. And I think that that's another thing that a lot of people find very sexy about you, because you're like this free spirit that wants to just explore life and like live to the fullest of life, but you're also like, there's something about you guys that's very open. And I feel like a lot of people, they get drawn to you because you kind of have this energy of like, it's almost like, yes, I will hang out with you, but you'll probably never see me again, kind of a thing. Like, you're just this person that you're coming in and you're gone. And it's like, it makes people think about you. So there's people that have met you only like once or twice, and they still think about you even if it's been years, because you just make an impact on people. And you just seem like that type of person that would want to travel or would want to explore like different things. So you seem to be the type of person that just like goes from one hobby to a different hobby. Like, you're just like the jack of all trades kind of person. But a thing that's kind of also really oddly sexy about you, and I say oddly because with that Five of Pentacles, there's something about it where if you look at her, she looks very nice how she's laying there, but it's also like there's this distance that you keep with everybody around you. So it's like you might give a piece of yourself to somebody, but they can never have all of you, and that makes you really sexy. But also there is this part of you that has like this loner wolf kind of vibe, right? You're just kind of that person that you might go out a lot by yourself, or when people think about you, they don't think about you necessarily with another person next to you. They think about you. So it's almost like maybe you go to the store a lot, you go shopping alone a lot, maybe you go out to dinner by yourself or go to lunch or something. Like, you go out a lot by yourself, and that is something that a lot of people notice about you, and they like that about you because you seem to be comfortable in your environments, and you seem to be comfortable in your body enough, and you seem to trust yourself enough to actually just go out and have fun. And people really do find that very sexy, because there's a lot of people out there that cannot go out and have lunch by themselves or go out and do things by themselves. And I feel like with this pile, you're almost okay with that. Like, I don't get the feeling that you're the type of person that, like, if nobody can go with you, you'll probably still go anyways. You know, you seem to be that type of person. And we also have here that Eight of Pentacles. I feel like you guys are also really hard workers, but it's kind of funny because it's almost like for you, your work would be play. Because I get that feeling that you want, or say for instance, pile number one, say you are not at the job or the career that you want, you are kind of heading in that direction, right? You're heading in the direction of where you're going to want to go eventually. And so you're making progress towards the passion that you want, the dreams that you want. And it's like you're gonna make, and this is so interesting, with the bottom of the deck, money. You're gonna make money off of your own joys of life, the things that you enjoy doing, and the passions that you have, and the work that you put in is gonna pay off, and you're gonna make money off of your hobbies or off of some kind of passion that you have, something that brings you joy. You're going to start making money off of that. And that is something that is going to be extremely attractive about you, because there's something about you guys that kind of gives off this, like, you're heading in the direction that you want to go, and you're putting in the work and the effort, and people can see that, and it's really sexy because there is some kind of determination about you that makes people, like, they love that drive and that passion that you have, and they're like, wow, I really wish that I had that. And so it's like it's really pushing you, you're really trying to go after the things that make you happy, and that is just makes a lot of people love that about you. So also we have here that dare to be happy, and I feel like you guys dare to be happy. You go after the things that you want. And I think that's another thing, is you're kind of a rebel in that way. You may not necessarily care about other people's opinions because you're realizing, like, you only have one life. This is your life. And so you kind of go at it from that direction. And so you always go after the things that bring you joy, because what else is there to in your mind, you're like, what else is there in life, besides going after the things that truly fulfill me? So that's kind of why I think you guys give off that kind of crazy energy a little bit, because you just go with the flow and you let go of things, and you just like let the universe kind of guide you, and you always end up in weird, bizarre situations, or good things always seem to happen for you, or things always just work out in the end. And people are always so surprised and shocked by that a lot of people are kind of like low-key jealous, because they're like, wow, I wish that I had that. And that's another thing that makes you sexy, is you may actually go against the grain in a lot of social situations, or in a lot of just, like, again, the way maybe you dress, or the way you do, like, the way you socialize. There's something about you that's a little edgy and goes against the grain, and a lot of people are like jealous of that. And I think that it's just because you kind of give off that air of confidence in going against the grain. And so a lot of people actually find that very attractive, because not very many people go against the grain of life. A lot of people try to fit into society, and you seem to kind of just do what makes you happy, and you just seem to say what comes to mind. And there's something about you guys that's just really lighthearted and just really enjoys people's company, but you also, like, you don't try to censor yourself. And that makes you really sexy, because there's a lot of people that are really drawn to that. And there's some people that act like are haters, but they're like low-key wishing they just had that. But you guys take like a lot of action too, and you do it when you feel the time is right. When you feel like this burst of like pleasure or this passion, like there's something that ignites, you go and take that action, you go and you work towards what you want, and people find that just really, really sexy. They just love that about you guys, because not everybody is like that. A lot of people try to just be practical in life, just be like, oh yeah, I need to have a 9-to-5 job, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. But you guys do things like kind of outside the box. You guys kind of just do things that are different and unique, and your jobs are even different and unique compared to a lot of other people's jobs too. So you stick out in many different ways, and there's this huge uniqueness about you that no one else could ever mimic. Like, you have this really strange energy, almost kind of like out of this weird oh my god, out of this world kind of energy. And so it's makes it really hard for people to forget about you, because you leave such an imprint, because you're so different. You know those people where it's like, for instance, you have like a friend, and you're like, and they're like, you have somebody tell you like, oh, what's Brian like? And you're like, I don't know, it's Brian. Like, you don't have a way of describing the person besides just their name. You know, it's like it's them. Like there's no other way to compare it. It's just them. That's kind of you guys. Nobody can really it's almost like people try to explain you and then they're like, you know what? No, you just need to come meet her or meet him. That's kind of like the vibe I get from people when they talk about you. And a lot of people just like how, again, unique you are. And a lot of people find that really hot and really sexy because you guys just kind of show this very unique but like childlike side to you. I don't think you guys have really lost that inner child, or at least you've done a lot of like inner work or something, because there's this part of you that seems to be very playful, that seems to just like be very in that feminine receptive state, but still be your own person, still set your own boundaries, still kind of go after what you want. And it's like you're balancing out that masculine and feminine energy too, so people can kind of see that you can flow in and out of it a little easier than some people can. And so you can, for instance, you can go to work and you can have stress, but then when you come home you can kind of switch out of that. Even if you're like, even if it takes you a minute, you can switch out of that mode of work mode and into that playful, having fun, relaxing, the day is over kind of energy. So it's like it's like you go with the flow and you go with the emotions as well. You know, you go where you feel that the universe and your feelings and your thoughts are taking you. And you kind of maneuver around it in such a way that life just kind of like unfolds for you. And that's kind of seems like that's how things work with you. But people find that very attractive about you because I think you guys just have this unique, quirky way on how you like do things in the world, and it's really makes people remember you. Like you really you really stick out to people, and you really get stuck in people's minds a lot. Like you're the type of pile that a lot of people, you live rent free in their mind, and that is that in of itself is pretty sexy. So that's what I have for my pile number 1. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that this resonates for you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great and wonderful day, pile number 1. Bye. All right, pile number 2. If you guys chose this beautiful flower with the little diamond in it, or this deck, this is for you. So what makes my pile number 2 so sexy? What makes you guys stand out? What makes you irresistible? All right, pile number 2. What makes you guys so sexy? Well, you guys got a lot of cards, but this seems to be the pile that you guys have worked, I feel like, towards your boundaries. Like, I think you guys actually try to, it's like you guys might have not had a lot of boundaries growing up. And then when you learned about boundaries, you started to learn to implicate them in your life. And now I feel like you guys are have a little bit of a stronger boundaries, right, than you once did. And that is really sexy. Because the people that once knew you, they see you now, even though, for instance, maybe they are angry at you for setting that said boundary, deep down inside, they like respect you for that. And that's like low-key sexy for them. So I don't know why, but I felt like I had to say that because that's just what kind of came up for me. A lot of you guys have a lot to offer. You're very kind and very giving and very generous. And a lot of people find that very sexy, especially if you're a man, because there is something about you that just like, you're not afraid to give gifts. And people really appreciate that about you. And that is something that they find very sexy. Um, a lot of you guys, another thing that's kind of sexy about you is you're the type of person that doesn't like air out their dirty laundry, right? You don't just go around telling people what's going on in your life all the time. Like, for instance, you're not the type of person that like, I know people that will post things like, oh, I'm having a terrible day. And like, they'll just tell people all kinds of things about themselves online. But when you guys do like, say, have social media, you don't sit there and post when you're having a bad day. Like you just think about your day. Like you know, and you're not afraid to necessarily go out and tell people, but there's a side to you that's very reserved because maybe in the past you could have been like that, or say you just knew a lot of people that gossiped a lot, and so now you're kind of like, I don't know, there's something about you guys that feels like you have kind of developed this self-discipline. I don't there it's just like people have watched you change over the years, and the people that once didn't find you hot now. It's like you guys are kind of like, guys and girls, you guys are just really changing your appearance, you're changing certain things. So a lot of people just, they don't, almost they don't recognize you anymore because maybe you were around certain people and they would kind of hold you back or try to convince you to be a certain way, but you're not doing that anymore. You're choosing to not do that. So it's almost like you've been around people that had bad influences on you, or just they didn't see you the way that you really were, and like you learn to step back from those types of people. And that's just really attractive because people are seeing that you make better decisions now. And it's like there's a part of you that's not afraid to start all over again. And you've moved away from people that just don't serve you anymore. Like some of you guys maybe cut family off, or you cut certain friends off, or certain people, and you just kept moving on, moving forward. Even when I feel like that was really emotionally hard for you to do, you still did it anyways. And people find that very sexy because there's a lot of people around you that wish that they had that kind of confidence. And I don't care who you are, confidence is just flat out sexy. So I feel like a lot of people, how many times can I say the word sexy in this reading? I might have to count, you guys. But people really find you hot. Like people really do like you and they love your energy. So there is this part of you guys that like the way you carry yourself. I don't know if you have worked on your posture, but it's like the way you walk up straight, or you look people in the eyes. Like you're not really afraid to be seen as much. Like, you know, there's a lot of people when they go out, they'll like keep their heads down and they'll walk kind of fast, or they'll kind of like slouch. But you guys seem to have like your posture is a little bit like more straight. You keep your chin up, you make eye contact, and people really find that hot. There's a lot of people that you don't even know that just thinks you're really hot. Like you'll be out in the store and there'll be, if say for instance, if you're like a guy, you'll be out in the store and you'll notice like people looking at you, right? And maybe there'll be a girl that's like, oh, excuse me, can you like help me reach something off the shelf? And you'll be like, sure. So you do it and then you give it to her, and then she's like, oh, thanks. But she's actually trying to like spark up a conversation with you, but you may not realize that because you're just like, I think that this pile, you're not necessarily oblivious to your looks, but I don't think you realize how physically appealing you actually are. Like, there's a part of you guys that maybe might have a little bit of a distortion. Like, you're like, oh, I'm okay looking, but like, you don't realize that you're hotter than you think you are. So, a lot of people, they get kind of like maybe even intimidated to come and talk to you. So that's another thing that makes you very attractive, is because a lot of people are really afraid to just like come towards you and talk to you guys. And some people like, it's just kind of funny because there is this aloofness to you to some degree that makes you sexy, because there's a part of you that doesn't realize how physically attractive you really are. And then there's also this part of you that maybe doesn't notice when people flirt with you. And so a lot of people don't realize like if you are into them or not. And that is like that mysterious factor. So that also makes people really find you really attractive because they want to it's almost like you're just this puzzle that a lot of people cannot solve, and a lot of people are really attracted to that. So pile number one got let go and flow and rebel. So I thought that was interesting. But there is definitely this rebellious side to you guys. And I think that for you guys, it's nothing like crazy. I think it's like for you, it can just be, it's weird. It's like maybe the way you dress, for instance, like, you know how some people, they say never mix silver with gold, but maybe you do that. And that's your way of rebelling, right? You don't do anything too crazy, but you do these little tiny things where you're like, yeah, that's right. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to follow that rule. And even if it's really tiny little things, people think that's kind of cute. They think that's really funny. And that gives you kind of that little like unique quirky side to you that people really like. So it's pretty funny because it's like, again, you're like a rebel, but you're like a tamed rebel. You know, you don't go do anything too crazy. I do think that you guys are the type of people, though, that like to change the scenery. Like, you like to change things up in your house. You like to change up what you eat, what you do. Like, you are the type of person that likes to, like, oh, I've never been to this place before. Let me go explore that place. Like, you're just that type of person that, like, would go to different stores you've never been to, go to different restaurants, maybe try different foods you've never tried. Maybe you like to travel. There's something about you guys that people notice that you're always changing, and that is so physically appealing because you're just this type of person that there are people that get stuck in the same routines and they can't break out of it. And so they're very mundane and they're just very predictable. But you guys are not predictable. You guys are really hard to kind of pinpoint. And I think that that makes you very attractive to a lot of people. Another thing too is people notice your table manners. They notice your manners in general. Like, you're the type of person that would open the door for people, say please, say thank you. And I'm also getting that you're the type of person that might not even admit when you did something wrong or even apologize. And that's just really sexy because there's a lot of people that just cannot do that. And so when you're like taking accountability or when you're just being very polite and like genuine to people, it really makes people be like, wow, I really like this person. And so a lot of people, they just like to be in your energy. You know, like your energetic field, like your aura, everything about you, it just kind of comes off like you're very attractive physically. There's this part of you that's like kind of innocent still, very humble, or at least like, again, a little aloof to certain things. So it makes you kind of cute because people are just like, I don't know how to handle pile number two, but I really like them, but I don't know how to handle that. Like, you know, some people don't know maybe how to like approach you to like try and date you. And you might even be private enough to where some people may not even know if you're single or not, because you just seem to come off not like a player, but like somebody that may have a lot of options. And so some people are like, well, and you just don't, I don't think you, like I said, I don't think you go out and air out your dirty laundry. I don't think you just tell people what's up with you most of the time. So a lot of people don't really know how to navigate around you because like a lot of people wish that they could get closer to you, but because I think you've been hurt in the past and stuff, you have a lot of boundaries there. And so a lot of people kind of like, they think about you, but like they maybe feel like they're at that distance from you. And it is kind of attractive because there's this, some people like yearn to be around you, but it's like they have to look at you from afar because you're just so hard to get to know, or you're just so like, again, a lot of boundaries and a lot of barriers there that I think makes it kind of hard to actually have that kind of, full-on one-on-one relationship with you. And so if you ever did date somebody, a lot of people like pay attention to that person that you date because they're like, wow, does like what does this person have that pile number two is attracted to? And they try to like figure it out because some people purposefully like tried to break up your relationships or tried to get in the middle of between certain things because people find you very attractive, or like again you had a lot of low-key jealous people around you guys, so you're just really protective of your energy and you're just really careful like who you let in now, and you don't just jump to relationship. I think some of you guys take a little bit of a break in between now when maybe in the past you used to do that. So people really notice that. They do notice that you've had a lot more self-control and more restraint. And again, it's just a lot of people cannot help but find that very hot, or find that really like it's just like it's hard to explain. It's like, wow, this person doesn't really deal with BS anymore, and it's just hot. So we have take no offense. And this is something that's interesting about you guys as well, is you guys don't get easily offended, because there's a lot of people in this world that like, I guess you could say are like more sensitive and have a harder time dealing with certain things, but you guys don't take offense to a lot of stuff. Like people project a lot onto you and you just like, okay. You know, and maybe that's a little bit of that rebellious, that rebel side to you, because you just like, it's almost like you guys are learning what is your baggage and what is other people's baggage, right? Because I think you guys have had a really rough past with a lot of different people. Like this feels like even parents, this feels like friends, this feels like all kinds of different people in your life that has really let you down, really hurt you in a lot of ways, that you just learned like, oh, they're just projecting onto me. And you're kind of figuring out like, you know, so there's something about you that seems unbothered. And when someone's unbothered, that's just really appealing, because then people are like, huh, this person's not offended by somebody making a joke or doing something. But so you kind of come off really cool and collected, but at the same time, it's like, I really want to know more about this person. This person seems very interesting, and I really want to know a lot more. And so it's kind of like you are brinking on that, and I feel like that is really appealing and makes people like really drawn to you because of that. So we have put others first. So you guys maybe, and this is something that's interesting, I'm getting that you used to put others first, and I still think you do to some degree, but you also are learning to balance out to where you're not always putting other people first, and that is what's making you guys attractive, because like there is this kind, loving, giving side to you where I think that you look at both perspectives, and maybe you guys don't mind sacrificing every now and again, especially for the people you love, and so people really do notice that, and they take account of that, and they think, wow, you know, pile number 2, like, that is pretty awesome. Like, I feel like you guys are the type of people that you put a lot of effort into yourself or into other people, and you really show that you care. And I feel like you guys, you learn to let things go and you go with the flow. I think you're the type of pile that you have learned to forgive other people, but still not allow them in your life. And so even though some people may think that you're just like this calloused person, that you can't let anything go, you're actually like allowing people to have their opinions and you're still moving forward. And so many people find that sexy, because you guys could have had like smear campaigned, you guys could have gone through where a lot of gossip, a lot of things happened to you guys, but you still kept your head high, you still went forward in life, and people notice that you're still trying to evolve and grow and heal. And I don't care who you are, but somebody that can actually take that time to grow and heal and evolve is just always just looks good in the eyes of everyone, because everyone knows that healing is not an easy thing to do. And I think that a lot of you guys, even though you have a busy schedule and even though you do try to take time for yourself, you still always try to have time for others. And that is what makes you guys that's what makes you guys sexy, because a lot of people, they don't do that, right? They don't take that time for their friends or for their family. You know, some people are very stingy with their time, but you have learned to kind of like try to be there for other people, especially if they prove themselves to you. So we have here gut instinct. And I think for you guys, you know, because your gut it's very intelligent. You know, I always say the gut and the heart actually has the same brain, like they're like the same cells that your brain has, and they're all interconnected. So you actually communicate with your heart, your stomach, and your brain. And I think that you guys are mastering trusting yourselves. So this is something that's very attractive about you, pile number two, because not only are you practicing and learning to set boundaries, even though maybe at times it's like, again, difficult, right? It's that touch and go. You guys are still learning to trust yourself along the way, and you're kind of sensing things through, right? So if you get a feeling about somebody, you're learning to just trust that instinct instead of second guessing yourself like you used to. So it's almost like you guys are clearing out self-doubt, and that's making you 10 times more attractive. So you're the type of pile, again, in which a lot of people, they like are afraid to be around you because, again, it's like there's this sense about you that you can kind of sense people, like you have this very intuitive knowledge about other people maybe, and it just makes others feel like you can kind of see right through them. So it's kind of like leaves people feeling vulnerable when they're around you, but people find it kind of sexy. They find you to be this like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but I want to do it with you kind of a thing. Like, people may fantasize a lot about you, pile number two. Like, people late at night might fantasize about you because they think about like the little things you do and say. Like, you guys have weird like little mannerisms, like maybe the way you move your mouth, or maybe the way how you talk. Maybe you're more like animate, or there's something about you that some people just really like, and they'll think about you late at night, and it'll start off kind of innocent, and then sometimes it gets naughty. So people get kind of drawn to you in different ways like that. So that's kind of just so interesting because there's so many people that are like really into you, but I don't think you know, like you're kind of aloof to how many people physically are attracted to you and want to date you. Like, you could have like a friend group, right? Of like 10 people, and there'll be like 6 people in that friend group that have a thing for you. But you like would never have guessed. Maybe one person you like, oh, I kind of got the feeling they liked me, or oh, they were a little more blunt than the rest, so I kind of knew they liked me. But like, again, there is this like tension when you're around people, and it's always like this tension of like, do they like me? What do they think about me? What are they thinking right now? Like, you really make people nervous. Pile number two. I feel like you guys make a lot of people nervous. Physical health too. So there's something about you guys, you take time. I don't know if you guys go to the gym, if you exercise, or if you take your vitamins. There is so many different ways that you can maintain your health, and I feel like you guys have a routine, or there's something that you do that kind of keeps you in shape, or kind of keeps you in a, like, you just look healthy. You know, I don't know if you guys have like a beauty regimen or something that you guys do, but there's something about your physical appearance that makes you look healthy. And we're just biologically designed to go after people that look healthy. Like, we are designed to eat foods that look good, right? That look the most nutritious, that look the most healthiest. So it's like we are always drawn to healthier people because then we can have healthier children and everything else, right? We want a healthy partner. And that is so physically attractive about you that a lot of people find really hot because they can't, like, they just, there's something about your body, or again, it's like you just give off this like you feel, or you look physically healthy, and people can tell that you take time out of your day to look good, or to pamper yourself, or to like eat better. And so people find that really sexy because like you guys are more likely to like eat a salad or go and eat something that is nutritious compared to something that's not. And it's like you guys really care about your bodies, and you take time to take care of your bodies. And I think that is just flat out really attractive to a lot of people, and they really like that about you, pile number two. We also have here presence, and I feel like there's something about you guys. So you know how a lot of people, they get in their heads a lot. You seem to be the type of person that yeah, you might get in your head every now and again, but when somebody's talking to you, you actually like not only does it look like you're present with them, that you're listening to them, but you even recall back what they have said. So you really shock people and you really make people feel special and you make people feel heard and seen. And that is really attractive to a lot of people because there's so many people out there that are just dying to get seen or validated. And it's like you give them that. And I think that's another reason why you're so addictive because this feels like the pile that would be addictive because there's something about your energy that just kind of gives off this like hot and cold. You're a little aloof, but yet you're very nice, very friendly, down to earth. You, keep trying to level up in your life, get better every day. You like take care of yourself. You like, you know what I mean? Like there's just things about you guys that makes a lot of people want to connect with you and you just seem so sexy. And again, I don't know what's going on here, but at the bottom of the deck we have that throat chakra and I feel like you guys have a very sexy voice and a lot of people like to listen to your voice. They love the way you talk, the way you sound, the way you maybe pronounce certain words. I don't know if you have an accent or anything, but there's something about your guys' voice that a lot of people find sexy. So that's what I have for you guys for my pile number 2s. I hope that this resonates for you and helps you in some way. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great and wonderful day, pile number 2. Thank you. Bye. All right, those of you that chose pile number 3, this flower with the little gear, or this deck, this is going to be your guys' reading. So what makes you guys sexy, pile number 3? What about you that is alluring, that makes you sexy, makes you stand out? All right, pile number 3. I'm actually really excited to do your guys's. You guys got more cards than anybody else, but like you guys are very interesting. So what makes you guys really sexy is that you're not afraid to say no. There's something about you that does seem to kind of like, you seem to be a person who, when you're upset, you will leave and go do something else to blow off steam, right? You will go do something else. So this one really stuck out to me and it made me question like, okay, so what is it about you guys that make you kind of like have this? But I don't know if you have a lot of fire in your chart or if you just seem to be that type of person, but there's something about you guys that give off kind of this energy of, it's like, it's almost like a gentle giant. Like you could explode on people, whether that's like physically, emotionally, mentally. You could do that, but you restrain yourself because you know it's almost like you understand that your words have power, that what you do you may not be able to take back. So you kind of are a little bit more careful. Maybe you guys used to have like anger issues or you used to pop off at people a lot easier and now you're really restrained, like you've restrained that to where you do it in a more healthier outlet, and that's really sexy because a lot of the people that do know you, pile number 3, they're like, wow, have you noticed that pile number 3 is changing like their anger issues or changing the way that they, like, instead of reacting, you're learning to respond more. And that's just really attractive because there is this like sense of self-control that you have developed, a little bit like pile number 2, but not really. Like it's not the same, although you guys have similar cards. So maybe pile number 2 is also something you want to look at, or you came from pile number 2, I don't know. But there's definitely something here where you guys have this ability to, it's, so it's like a lot of bad things have happened to you, and it's like you have crazy stories. I don't know why, but this pile feels like the type of person that could like tell a story. Like you could be a writer even. Like you guys have this weird way of telling a story that captivates people. And there are so many people that are like in awe of like your childhood or just your life in general. They're just like, how did this person live this type of life? How is it that they're this type of way? Like, how did they come out of that? And it's like the things and the challenges that you have overcome makes you really attractive, because it's like, if I would have gone through that, I don't think I could have been able to handle it as well as pile number three did. Like, people look up to you, and a lot of people like low key respect you, but probably don't really tell you that, because a lot of people just don't for some reason, you know? Sometimes we'll think things in our heads and then people won't compliment somebody, right? Like, I do that. I'll compliment somebody in my mind, but then I thought I said it out loud, or say I just was afraid or embarrassed to say it. You know, that happens sometimes. So I think you are around people that like they'll think things, or they'll have like an opinion about you that's like a positive one, but then they don't tell you. So you don't really realize how many people around you could be appreciative of you, because they either don't voice it or they don't really show it, which again is kind of a shame, but that is something I'm kind of picking up for you guys. Another thing as well is, some of you guys maybe have experienced, like I said, hardships, but like I get the sense that some of you guys maybe overcame depression, or you overcame some kind of like mental illness or an emotional issue or something, and it's like people really find that attractive, because there is this part of you that you just, like, again, you take accountability for yourself, and people could have seen you stuck or trapped in a situation, but it's like you got yourself out of it, even if the situation was difficult at first, even if you like lost out. So say for instance, okay, this is just like an example. If you were married, but your spouse was terrible and abusive towards you, it's like, even though this would have been really hard for you to get out of the situation, and even though this would have also been a situation that could have made you lost out on money as well and other resources, like this would have set you back years, you still decided to take the bullet and do it anyway, because you realize that like if you stay where you were and stay stuck, that it's not going to actually improve along the way. Like, you know that it's going to just keep getting worse. So you would rather just deal with it now and get over it, and have to like build your resources and have to like start all over and scratch all over again, than to stay stuck in a terrible situation. And so that is like really, really hot, because you guys have put yourself out of a situation that was perhaps toxic, or that kept you stuck, that made you feel like you couldn't do anything, and you got yourself out of a situation like that. And it's like, even though you had a rough little while, things are starting to pick back up for you again. Even though you've had major loss in your life, it's almost like you almost get your justice in a way. I don't think you're the type of person that seeks revenge. And that's also really attractive about you, because you could have sought revenge. You could have been nastier in a certain situation, but you didn't. And instead, you kind of was like, you decided to take the high road. And a lot of people notice that about you, and they notice that about your character. So something that I'm noticing here, pile number three, is there is something about your character that is really, really sexy, because it's almost like you have dignity, you have self-respect, you have respect of others, you take responsibility. I feel like you guys are very like relationship oriented, and there's something about you guys that can still enjoy the moment. You still enjoy the pleasures of life, and that's so attractive, because not very many people can do that. And I feel like you guys, even though you've had like hard times, you still didn't let that define you. And so people around you are like, damn, is it just me, or is pile number three getting hotter? So it's like you guys are evolving. But as the years go on, after, especially out of getting out of this hardship, people have seen you from rock bottom, slowly building your way up to the point where a lot of people want to be you or date you. And I feel like you guys just kind of give off that really like relationship material vibe, and that's really sexy because there's a lot of people that want to have your children or want you to have their children, and so there's something about you guys that just come off like you are just like the perfect partner, or that you're like, it's almost though like, okay, so pile number 3, what's I'm getting as well that makes you really hot is that you guys learn your lessons and you don't repeat them. So it doesn't take you more than 2 times or even 3 times to learn your lesson. And then you have like mastered that lesson. You're like, no, I'm not going to repeat that again. A lot of the times you guys barely even have to do it 2 times. Once it happens, you're like, okay, I'm going to learn from it and I'm not going to repeat that. Where did I go wrong, right? It's like you take responsibility for parts of your actions in your own self, and that is why you're learning and evolving and growing. So it's almost like every year, it's like you're upgrading and in so many ways, like physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and you are even maybe upgrading in partners and people you're dating, or the people that approach you, you notice are of like higher caliber now than they once were. So it's like every year it just gets a little bit better, but it took you a while to get to this point. And I think that that is another reason why it's so sexy, because the ones that were around when you had a really hard time, pile number 3, they were like, oh, poor pile number 3, I don't think they'll ever like really recover from this, or it's going to take them a long time. But like you did it in half that time. You actually like really shocked a lot of people, and a lot of people like low-key was really attracted to that, and they didn't want to like admit that, or they were afraid of like some people started to develop feelings for you and crushes for you when they once didn't look at you in that way, you know? So it's kind of funny because I think that you guys have this ability to like, when you, as you're evolving, you're changing a lot, and so a lot of people are just like becoming more drawn to you. And you have a lot of people really intrigued by you because you just seem to have this like aura about you and this energy of like, and it's almost like people feel like they can be safe around you too, because you do take responsibility, and there's things about you that's like you don't do stupid, reckless behavior. Like you have your head on straight, and that is just really physically appealing to a lot of people too, because maybe I get this a lot too, that maybe like a lot of people deal with immature men or immature women, and then when they meet you, they're like, whoa, wait, this person seems to be more mature and they seem to have their life in order, or at least you're on the track to that. And like you take responsibility, and you actually will be willing to sit down and work through a problem with me instead of like trying to run away. Like you're really like grounded and down to earth, and it's just like it makes people question their entire relationships even before you, or even just watching you. So for instance, say you're in a relationship with somebody, and say you're a guy and you're in a relationship with a girl, right? And say that there is another girl watching you guys interact. So this girl is watching you, and she's sitting here thinking, my boyfriend doesn't do that, or this person doesn't do that for me. And so they're almost like learning from you, like how you treat your partner and how you treat others. Because I do get this feeling that you guys have had really bad relationships in the past, but because you've learned from that, and you've also been like working through your own issues, you're not attracting the same type of polarity that you once did in a prior relationship. So your relationships have been evolving, and your intimacy is getting better. And you know, even though there's a lot more work that we can always do, you guys are still improving all the time, and it's like making other people notice that, and they're noticing how you're treating other people, especially when you're dating them. And so it makes other people like, man, I need to set my bar higher. I need to set my standards higher in a partner, because it's like you just seem to be that giving, catering person that it makes other people jealous that the person that you're dating has you, right? So you might have a lot of people that maybe want to try and get into your relationships. It's kind of similar to pile number 2, because I feel like you just seem to be like this catch. There's something about you guys that it kind of comes off like a catch. Like you're just really like a good option. And I think that maybe perhaps like when you blow off steam, maybe you exercise now or you do something to like fuel your anger that you once had in your past situation. And it's like you fuel your anger in a positive, creative way, which I think makes you money or helps you in some way. And it's like, you know when to stop. So right there, like these little penguins, like that one right there is like holding the other one back. Like, no, we can't get in the water because of the orca, right? The killer whales in the water. So it's like you prevent other people from getting hurt. You are the one that's like, no, that's not safe. And that's really attractive because like you step up and you like put a stop to like if somebody's getting bullied or if something looks dangerous, like you're really protective of those around you, and that's very attractive. And then we also have that tell the truth. So I feel like you guys, maybe you guys could lie, and sometimes maybe you give little white lies, right? Like you could always lie. But I think in your regard, you always try to tell the truth because you realize maybe in the past how lies could have caused issues down the line. And so you tell the truth, and you're a lot more careful with how you talk to people and communicate with people now because you don't want to have that miscommunication. And so your communication is evolved and grown. And the way that you even conduct yourself in the, like, say, for instance, like if you go to work and you have a board meeting, the way you talk, there are people in the room that are like, huh, even though this is a business meeting, it's still kind of hot. You know, like the way you rock back and forth, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, there is like this reassurance about you. And it's just a lot of people find that super sexy because of the stability that it feels. It's almost like that you bring energetically makes you very trustworthy and makes people want to follow you. You're like a leader, you know, you give off this leader-like quality. We have open your heart. So I feel like maybe sometimes you may close yourself off, but when people that treat you right, or there's only a small amount of people that ever can truly open your heart. And the ones that get to experience that, they're in like complete awe. At this point, it's not even sexy. It's like beautiful when they actually get to feel your true essence and your true, like who you really are. And I feel like very few people ever get to have that opportunity or that chance. And it's like every time you like let down a little bit of your wall to somebody, it's like they find something else to love about you. They find something else to appreciate about you, because it's like I do get this feeling that a lot of you guys have gone through a lot and you hold yourself back from really like explaining yourself or telling yourself why you feel this way, right? Like maybe you never really told people everything you've gone through. And so when people do learn a little bit about you each time, they're just like, wow, like you just make people's heart, like you pull on people's heartstrings, you know, because of like the things that you've gone through, and still how you end up being such a amazing person. So we also have here, be courageous. So I feel like you guys do things even when you're terrified, even when you're afraid, you still go after things. And I also get to that even at times when you're nervous about other people, you still don't let that stop you. You still choose to go after it. Like if you're a guy, you would be afraid to approach a girl, but you do it anyways, because even if you get rejected, it's like better to know than to not know. And if you're like a girl, the way that you maybe put yourself out there, or the way you dress, or the way you interact with people can be a little bit more bold and a little more courageous. And I feel like that's just like the way you express yourselves. So we also have here, lend a hand. So you're the type of person that will always turn around and help another individual. I feel like you're the type of person that, like, if somebody is in the line at the grocery store, but say they're like $2 off of their thing, you will just buy it for them. You'll just give them the $2, or you'll like, you know, find a way to help them. And a lot of people really appreciate that. Like, you're just that person that they know that if something bad was gonna happen, that you're the responsible one, that you'll be the one that would come and help them out. And so a lot of people may even see you as like that mother or father authority figure kind of person, whether that's friends, family, right, relationships, because you just give off this demeanor that you're always going to be there. And it's like you're just a steady rock for people to lean on. And a lot of people really appreciate that about you. We also have here, give it to God. So I feel like when I think that you guys have this type of philosophy, or the way that you think is that you're going to go out and do the things you need to do in order to get what you need to get. But like, if something is out of your hands or out of your control, you understand that they're like, you can't stress, you can't worry about it, you can't do anything about it, right? It's out of your hands. And so you allow it to go to God or the universe, right? You're like, I'm going to give this to them because I'm going to have trust that it's going to just work itself out. And it's like you're starting to learn to just like trust the universe, trust God. And because I get the feeling that there was times in your life where you've had so much uncertainty, and then you just said, okay, I'm going to give it to God, I'm going to give it to the universe, and then it always pans out for you. And so there's always this like little sense of you that always kind of trusts in that higher power. And a lot of people find that really attractive, even if you're not like religious or anything. It's like just the fact that you have some kind of trust and faith in yourself, and that things are going to be okay, and that you have trust in like that something up there is going to help you, that does actually like show that you do have that side too that can get worried, that can, be human, right? And so it does bring a lot of people better perspectives when they see that about you. And so you just shock people. You really make people question their own self and their own faith in themselves as well. Like, you just come off as somebody that's always like reassured, even if you don't feel reassured, right? Like, even if you go through your day stressing and worrying, a lot of people don't see that in you. A lot of people can't tell you're stressed or worried, or you just kind of give off this demeanor that you're okay and that like you can handle anything and take over the world. And so people just, they look at you like that. And so sometimes maybe it's hard for you to like lean on others, right? Get love from other people sometimes, because like everybody just sees you as that rock, and sometimes you need that you need someone else to be the rock for you, right? Okay, so we have here responsibility, right? So the empowerment, self-discipline, you're very reliable. So it's like you just come off as that person that's like, if something bad happens, you're the one to call. Like, that's how a lot of people have it in their heads about you, and so I think that that is something that a lot of people love about you, is that they know that you're a very reliable person. And honestly, in a world like today where so many people are really flaky, it's really hard to find that one person that you can like depend on and rely on. And so those people are like the most like loved like people, because they're so hard to find nowadays. So you guys are kind of like that little like rough hidden diamond in the rough, and whoever is so lucky to stumble across you is like they won the lottery, right? Because it's like not everybody around them is going to be that stable person that they can depend upon. We also have here that relationship. So like there's something about you that you kind of come off as accepting too. Like, you don't judge people. You can have this one-on-one conversation with people, and it just makes people feel really validated and seen and heard, and really feel cared for and loved. You guys just give off that understanding that a lot of people miss. Like, so many people need that validation, and I feel like you help people just like feel seen and feel heard. And also, for a lot of you guys, it's like you enjoy your food, you enjoy your leisure time. You love to just like do little things that bring you joy. And I think you guys have like your own little ritual. Like, say for instance, like if you like ice cream, you'll go and get yourself ice cream every now and again, like reward yourself, pleasure yourself, in that way. And I feel like you guys do things that bring you joy, that you indulge in, that you particularly like to do. And I feel like a lot of people find that really sexy, because even though you work really hard and you do a lot of things for people, you still find time to like enjoy your day and enjoy the little things. And people find that really hot. So we have here presence, and I think you have like this awareness. There's something about you guys. And at the bottom of the deck, we also have insight. So I feel like you guys have this presence about you, but you're very insightful. So you give people really good advice. You are very grounded in your like in the logic and in the spiritual, right? So you kind of learn to like balance both. And I feel like you guys are really attentive to people, and people really appreciate that about you because they feel like you're not like, so for instance, if you're on the like if you meet somebody in person, you're not just somebody that will be on your phone the whole time. Like you'll actually sit down and have a real conversation with them and be in the present moment with them. And people cherish that. People love that about you. And people find that sexy because they feel like you are very confident, and you feel like they just feel like somebody that they would really love to have in a partner. And so it's like it just brightens people's day when they actually get to have a conversation with you or get to meet you in person. It's like you have just this air about you that just seems to be so like grounding, but yet so like warming. Like it's grounding, but it's very warm, and it's like a nice hug, like a nice bear hug. Like that's what it feels like. Like your energy is a nice bear hug. And a lot of people love that about you because when they think about you, they think about how warm your personality is, how fierce you are, how kind you are, how generous, and just how stable of a person you are in their life. So you're just that individual. And that's just really, a lot of people find that very sexy because they know that they can trust you, and they know that you are somebody that they can rely on at the end of the day. So that's what I have for my pile number threes. I hope that this resonated for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful day, pile number three. Bye.